The GT40 was, in the American tradition, a kind of muscle car, but didn't have the finesse. It was a vehicle that was built entirely to go, but not stop.
They're these amazing machines that take a great amount of delicacy to be able to drive them to their limit without going too far.
Giddy up! Giddy up!
What's the lap record here, Bert?
158.
150 dead.
How fast were you, mate?
They were like rocket ships, you know, with the fuel tanks in the door. I mean, like they were just surrounded in gas with this massive engine underneath.
When you look at the GT40 and you look at the Cobra, it's like looking at a biplane and a jet plane. The whole look, it was like the arrival of modernity.
Not bad at all. Mwah.
I'm a Ferrari guy. But the Ford GT was most powerful car at that time.
In a straight drag race, the GT40 would have beat the Ferrari hands down any time, but their challenges were different. The Ferrari was a beautifully handling car, which could accelerate and decelerate with perfection. Although it just didn't have the juice, it didn't have the power of the GT40.
You can mash the accelerator all the way down, but the brakes were like the weakest part of these cars.
Oh, shit!
The challenge of the car was never, can it go fast enough? They put as much engine as they could possibly pack into that size car. More engine than, in a sense, anyone else had. The challenge of the vehicle was how to stop it, how to slow it down.
He's got brake fade.
In those days, they were flying down that Mulsanne Straight at 230 miles an hour. 230 miles an hour in the 60s when they weren't really sure if they were going to be able to stop at the end of that. You know, what type of man is willing to do that?
He's going to break his own record.
Shut up. It's really a beautiful car even today. I mean, if you look at the cars that they made in the 64, 65, 66, they don't feel like anachronisms. They feel timeless. And so it's fun, you know, to watch them go really fast.
The whole thing suddenly has this much more savage, intense, driven look to it. There's no jalopy, there's no sweetness, cute little windshield or curved little cubby to sit in. This thing is like a living bullet with tires. So it was no longer just kind of an interesting shape, but what shape is going to cut through the air? And the advent of engineering and aerodynamics were starting to make a play in how these cars were built.
Over 90, air's getting in, not getting out. It's the nose. I can feel it in the wheel.
GT40 comes from GT being Grand Touring, and it's 40 inches off the ground.
40.
Yep.
This is the prototype car that Carroll Shelby brought over from England, Slough, England. It was designed over there. He didn't like what they were doing, so he went against the rules and shipped it over to America to have it worked on here by his guys.
You may not like it, but this is how things are done at Ford.
Well, not anymore.
This is the first light body race car that Ford produced. It's a fiberglass body. It's very light, and that's why they had the lift problems at first. It started with a 289 engine, and they ended up paring down a 427 engine that they didn't think would ever fit in the car.
She's outputting max horsepower from this displacement.
So put in a bigger engine.
Where are we going to put it, on the roof?
They took a bunch of parts on them, remanufactured them to be smaller and lighter, and they put that big engine in there, and that made the difference.
Driving it is deceivingly fast. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. It accelerates, it turns, it brakes, it does everything really well. Not like a contemporary race car, but for that era, it was amazing.
They are sensitive beasts, you know. It's actually like Ken Miles would say. He would say it's a ballet, it's not a wrestling match. And that's very much how you actually work your feet as well. You kind of point your toes in this very delicate fashion, but then you really can feel the car, you know, underneath you, and you get a sense of what the car is doing.
We researched everything that Carroll Shelby put together for his GT40s, And we knew we were going to get some replicas that were what the original cars looked like.
There's 9 total GT40s that we'll have in the movie. We have 2 cars that were made by Superformance, and the rest of them we just got chassis made by a vendor, and the bodies were made by a vendor, and then everything was built in our shop. They play several different race cars at Le Mans, and then they'll get a new coat of paint, new graphics, and at Daytona the same cars will play different cars there. We are definitely spending a lot of time making sure that these things look as authentic as they possibly can.
It's not until just a week ago that I got to see the GT40 in person, and I've been obsessed with that for the past few months. It's just great to see how they move, and you just get the sense of how fast they're going when they're racing.
Ford put a lot of time and engineering into that car, and it was an arduous task for them, but ultimately they came up with a product that was a world-class car and was faster than anything else out there.
Go, 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 go!